guys, welcome to Stacking the Shelves for the week preceding the weekend of November 7th. I wasn't going to do another Stacking the Shelf this week, but I realized a couple things. The first was I was really low on audiobooks, and I am supposed to be traveling down to Missouri next week to go to our manufacturing plant for work, which is a really long drive, so I wanted to make sure I had enough audiobooks. And then I also realized I was getting behind on my graphic novel reading challenge for the year. So my library is back open limited hours. So I decided to brave the library and go ahead and just see if they had any graphic novels. I actually put them all on hold, but I searched to see if they had some graphic novels that I would like. I haven't really been paying a lot of attention to like book trends this year, so I did a little bit of research on what graphic novels are like supposed to be really good that released earlier in the year, and got some of those as well. So I have a lot of audiobooks and a lot of graphic novels, and then a couple novellas from the library as well. I've been finding this year I've had a little more trouble like concentrating on stuff just because it has been a stressful year and I'm a little distracted. So novellas have been really nice for me. They provide a nice short story and I feel like I accomplished something when I finish them. So I'll go ahead and go through them. Most of these audiobooks, there is one review book as well, which I forgot about. So I'll start with that. The first book I got for review, I requested through NetGalley and the publisher granted me access to it this week. And that is The Brass Queen by Elizabeth Chatsworth. And this comes out in January. It's about a woman British aristocrat who ends up working with some U.S. spy to hunt down this invisibility potion that is causing issues. It's very much a Victorian steampunk kind of novel, it sounds like, with a lot of action and probably some romance, I'm not sure. But it sounded really good, and the early reviews that I've seen on it have been really positive, and I really like steampunk, so I thought it would be a really good read. So I'm excited to read this, and I think it will be a lot of fun. So thank you for the publisher and NetGalley for giving me access to that. All right, now going into the audiobooks, I did get quite a few, and again, just like getting novels from the library, when I'm doing a really long, like 9-hour drive, I find that I actually stay awake better and pay more attention if I have some shorter audiobooks that are maybe things I wouldn't normally listen to. So you'll see there's some shorter ones in here along with just like normal stuff I would listen to. So the first one that's a bit shorter that I got through the Audible Plus catalog is Zero G by Dan Wells, and this is a middle grade / young adult book. It's about 3 hours to listen to, and it's about a young boy who's trapped in space on a spaceship with a whole bunch of other people. I do like a lot of Dan Wells books, so I thought it would be kind of a fun listen. And again, it's one of those nice short reads, and I feel like if I'm driving 9 hours in one day, it's nice if I can listen to some different stuff throughout the drive. So I think this will be really good for that. The next one I kind of stumbled upon in the Audible Plus catalog, and it's one that's been on my wish list for a while. I started reading Frances Hardinge earlier this year and just wondered why I haven't ever read her before. I've absolutely loved the 2 books of hers I've read, so I really want to go back and read some more. And it ends up that The Cuckoo Song was on Audible Plus, so I went ahead and borrowed that as well. And this is a longer book. It is an 11-hour book, but it's something I've been wanting to read for a long time, so I was excited to see it in the Audible Plus catalog and went ahead and got that. All right. So this next one is another shorter one. I think it's like 4 hours, but it's by another author that I was a huge fan of in my 20s, and I still am. I just don't think she's writing as many books. And that's Elizabeth Hand, and this is Wendley Hall, which sounds like a really interesting book about some people who move into this place to compose music and stuff. She always kind of writes about the artsy community, and there's usually some drugs and some crazy psychotic stuff going on. But this hall is haunted and it ends up getting kind of weird. This is another shorter novella. It's I think 3 to 4 hours. But I'm a huge Elizabeth Hand fan, and I've read almost everything she's written. And I will say right now, a lot of people don't like her writing. A lot of her books don't get very good reviews because they are kind of ambiguous and a little bit out there. But I really love it just because it's so different. So I was really excited to see something I hadn't read before. And again, this was part of the Audible Plus catalog, so I do get to borrow it for free. We're struggling a little bit with the Audible. I do like a platinum account on Audible, but my son has been listening to a ton of audiobooks, so he's been using a lot of credits. So I'm running low on credits, and they don't renew till like January, February. So being able to borrow stuff from the Plus catalog that I don't have to use a credit for is really great. Okay, so another book I got, and this one is a full-length book, but it's a shorter full-length book. I think it's like a 7-hour listen, is Make Mine Magic by Shauna Swinson. And Shauna Swinson writes the Enchanted Ink series, which I've always kind of wanted to read, but never quite got around to reading. And this is supposed to be just a very lighthearted, fun novel about a young woman who gets stood up at the altar and decides to take her honeymoon by herself anyways, and ends up meeting this old woman who is a witch who starts to train her in magic. And it's supposed to be kind of very cutesy, lighthearted, and fun. And, you know, it's a shorter book, and I thought it would be a great listen to for just in the car for a diversion. All right, I have two more. The next one is another shorter one. It's a novella by John Scalzi, and it's Murder by Other Means. And this is the follow-up book to The Dispatcher. And I'm a big Scalzi fan. I haven't read all of his stuff, but I've pretty much liked all the stuff I've read. And The Dispatcher was a really neat concept of like, if you're murdered, you don't die. I think that's how it works. You don't die, you come back to life. And so dispatchers are people who solve people's murders, even though the person's not dead. I think I'm pretty sure that's how that works. It's been a long time since I've read that, but very much looking forward to reading another book. I thought the first one was very creative and very fun. It's done kind of like a, you know, hard-boiled detective novel, but has this kind of interesting, weird, futuristic backdrop where people can't die when they're murdered. Yeah, so looking forward to reading that. Again, it's shorter, it's 3 to 4 hours, and I think it'll be a fun read. And then the last one is something completely different. When they were doing the Audible Originals, for a while you got to pick like 2 free audiobooks to borrow a month. And then they also had the Audible Escapes, which was the romance thing. You paid like $6 a month to get unlimited access to all genres of romance. They've done away with both of those things and replaced it with the Audible Plus catalog. But I realized I was kind of missing the different stuff. So sometimes when they did the Audible Originals, I pick out 2 that were just completely random, something I would never normally listen to. So I was trying to look into like some nonfiction and stuff and see if there was one that interested me. And this one is a full-length book that's like 7 to 8 hours, so it is a shorter one. But it's something that's nonfiction that I thought looked really interesting, and that is Pandora's Lab by Paul A. Offit. And it's 7 stories of science gone wrong. Now, when I do these books on Audible tends to have higher reviews than the books normally have other places, so I always like cross-reference Goodreads and Amazon. And this one did get very good reviews, and I like reading about science stuff, kind of popular science stuff, so I think this would be a kind of a fun diversion as well. So quite a bit of variety in the audiobooks I got this month, but again, I only had like 1 left to read, and I wanted to make sure I had an adequate supply for at least 18 hours of driving. So yeah. All right, so now we're going to get into the library books. And as I mentioned, I have a lot of them because they were graphic novels, and I read those very quickly, and I was really behind on my graphic novel challenge. I think I have 20 to read in the next 2 months or something like that if I'm going to make it this year. And part of the reason that is because I usually get my graphic novels from the library because they're expensive to buy, and I read them so quickly, and there aren't very many that I want to like reread and keep. And I didn't really want to buy them, so I just wasn't reading many of them. All that being said, the first one actually is not a graphic novel. I did get 2 novellas. So the first one I'm going to go through is In the Shadow of Spindrift House by Mira Grant. So Mira Grant is another pen name for Shauna Maguire, but it's more her like horror genre. And a lot of these novellas Mira Grant writes are released through Subterranean Press, which does limited edition signed copies of them. They're super expensive to get, and you can buy it like electronic copy for Kindle, but I found out my library had some of these novellas, so I went ahead and got this one, In the Shadow of Spindrift House. They always get kind of mediocre reviews, but I think it'll be fun to read. I like her horror stuff. like Rolling in the Deep was one I really liked, and they're always very different and have very interesting ideas and are kind of creepy. So looking forward to reading that. And the other one that I got that was a novella is one that I don't even remember. I saw this book somewhere and it sounded like right up my alley. I'm kind of into those fantasy westerns that are set in, kind of Mad Max thing, but maybe not quite that extreme. So this one sounded super cute. And again, it's just a short little novella, and it's Upright Women Wanted by Sarah Gailey. I think that's how you say her name. It is a JLBT novel, and it features a librarian who's living in like a post-apocalyptic Western world. So it's described as a good old-fashioned horse opera for the 22nd century. I'll read you just what it's about because it's hard to explain. So Esther is a stowaway. She's hidden herself away in the librarian's book wagon in an attempt to escape the marriage her father has arranged for her. A marriage to the man who was previously engaged to her best friend who she was in love with, her best friend who was just executed for possession of resistance propaganda. The future American Southwest is full of bandits, fascists, and queer librarian spies on horseback trying to do the right thing. And they're going to bring the fight to you. So it just sounded really fun. And I really like those kind of like either futuristic or fantasy, like Western weird things, Weird West kind of things. So it sounded really good. Hopefully I'll enjoy it. All right, now on holographic novels, there's quite a few of them. The first one is The Dark Matter of Mona Star by Laura Lee Gollage. This is more of a middle grade or young adult graphic novel, and it's supposed to be about dealing with emotions, depression, mental health kind of things. I like the artist style. It's pretty cool. So looking forward for a lot of good things about it. I think that should be a good read. Next one I picked up is Snapdragon by Kate Lay. This is another junior graphic novel, so middle grade. I know it's a fantasy, and I know it involves like witches and stuff. And, it's got a very cartoony type of style. So I picked that up. Again, just for fun. I mentioned I was just kind of randomly checking out like what are the best graphic novels released this year, especially in the fantasy or science fiction genre. The other one I picked out is a memoir by Noel Stevenson, The Fire Never Goes Out. It's a memoir and pictures of kind of her journey to becoming a graphic novelist. So she's the one who wrote Nimona, which I really enjoyed. So that should be good. And then the next one I picked up is The Dam Keeper, Return from the Shadows. Me and my son really both liked book volume 1 and 2, but it took them a long time to come out with this third volume. And I kind of forgot about it, but I was actually searching my own blog to see what graphic novel series did I not finish that I really liked? And found out that this book had come out, and because I knew it was going to be a trilogy. And I love the... I don't know if you can see the artistic style in here. They're all kind of like watercolor look. And this is another junior graphic novel, so middle grade, very fantasy. I've already read it, and I really like how everything was resolved. It's very well done. It is not by any means a difficult read, but the pictures are really cool, and you can kind of whip through it, and it's very entertaining. And then the last one I got is the third volume of East of West by Hickman, Dragotta, and Martin. This is when I started... When I was in the middle of being a few years ago, I was absolutely swamped with review books. I had 40 or 50 review books to read and 200 of my own books to read. I was completely overwhelmed. I grabbed the first volume of East to West in the library because I thought it looked cool. I actually read the first two and I liked it. I didn't absolutely, oh my God, love it, but I really liked it. And so when I went back and I was looking through my graphic novel reviews and I was like, oh, why did I not keep reading that series? So I did go ahead and pick it up. It's a very traditional graphic novel series, and it's another one of these post-apocalyptic sci-fi Western type of books, I believe. I actually don't remember it super well, and I might have to go back and get volumes 1 or 2, but I was going to pull up my own reviews and see if that was enough to jog my memory first. So those are what I got. It is a lot of books. I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 graphic novels, the 2 novellas, so that's 7. And then all the audiobooks I went through. I can't remember how many of those there were. The 1 review book, 8, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 audiobooks. So 14 books this week. A lot of them are shorter. The graphic novels, like I read Dam Keeper in like 30 minutes, 20 or 30 minutes, so pretty quick. Really looking forward to that. I was really excited to go back to the library. Although it's weird, they have a lady with a counter that counts everybody that goes in, and they won't let more than 20 people into the library at a time because it is a pretty small library. The branch I go to is. So it was a little bit weird. I like walk in and she's like clicking and I'm like, can I go in? And she was like, yeah, no, you just go in. She says, I just got to make sure we don't get more than 20 people in there, And I went in and grabbed my stuff off the hold shelf. And they actually had a book on hold for me that wasn't for me. Like, had they put a little tag in there with like your number on it and your name. And I don't know what this book was. So I was super confused and I was trying to figure out like if I got it in place of another book. So then like they have plexiglass up where the librarians are. And I was like, I didn't put this at hold. And she was confused then. She's like, well, do you want me to take it? And I was like, I guess, because I was trying to figure out, like, did I get this in place of something I wanted? Like, I can't remember. So I gave it to her. She gave me a funny look, and then I realized later, like, she probably thought I was an idiot because I could have just dropped it back into the book return, but I was confused. Like, I didn't know if they were thinking I was going to check out a different book, and I got this other book. I don't know. I was confused when I thought about more. It didn't make any sense, but whatever. So that being said, other than that, we're kind of hanging out. We're having very warm weather here now in Minnesota for this time of month. I mean, it's mid-November and it's been in the 70s and all the snow is gone now. It is supposed to get cold again next week and be in the 30s. But it's been kind of nice because we've been able to go out on walks. All the snow melted. It came kind of fast, so we've been able to clean up our leaves. And like we have to put in like posts along the road so that the snowplow doesn't tear up things it's not supposed to. So we're able to put those out. And my son is doing hockey. He has his first hockey tournament coming up in Thanksgiving, so we're not really sure how that's going to go. And then, of course, we're all on pins and needles about all the election stuff. We'd really like that to be resolved. We had more protesting today down by where I work near St. Paul. The freeway was shut down because people were protesting the whole, Trump not wanting to count all the vote things. And I know that's happening in a few cities, but it's always a little bit stressful because like I couldn't take the way home from work that I wanted to take, and it was somewhat close to where I worked. So then I was like worried about making sure my route didn't go through that area. And on top of having to deal with all the pandemic issues and possibly traveling the pandemic next week, it's been kind of stressful. My son just got moved on to full-time distance learning, so he's no longer going into school. And he says it doesn't bother him, but I think it bothers me and my husband a little bit because he has a lot of hands-on classes this year that now he can't do. Just generally, I will say this is probably not the most like up and happy couple weeks we've had this year, but we'll get through it and things will get better. I have a lot of books to read, so that's great, and it will get me through everything. Anyways, I hope you guys got a lot of great books and that you're enjoying your fall and, looking forward to the holidays and trying to figure out what to do for the holidays. We haven't figured that out with our family yet. Trying to stay safe. We're talking about maybe trying to do like a virtual Thanksgiving dinner or something because nobody really wants to travel anywhere. We'll get through this year and hopefully next year we'll get better. All right. Well, I hope you guys had a great week of reading. You got some more wonderful books to read, and I will talk to you later. Bye.